Exercise may be the single most effective non-pharmacological symptomatic treatment for multiple sclerosis. Yup, is the best thing that we can do outside of medication to help our MS symptoms. Some might say it's more important than medication. That some is me. I'm the some. And I'll share with you later in the video why I feel that way and how exercise has helped me with my MS. In today's video, I'm going to share what the most recent research is showing, a bit of my exercise and how it helps me, some tips that you can try, and a free download to help you with your exercising. There's a lot of current research that's showing how exercise can help us with our symptoms. Oh, and I'm going to link all the papers and articles that I cite in today's video in the description below if you'd like to check them out. In this review that was released in December of 2024, they wrote that benefits of exercise training have been reported on fatigue, depression, pain, anxiety, lower limb functionality, mobility, and cognition. They also shared that other potentially relevant outcomes include vision, vestibular function and proprioception, autonomic dysfunction, and cerebral blood flow and bladder and bowel function, and employment. Wow, exercise seems kind of magical, doesn't it? So there were a lot of big vocabulary words in that study, weren't there? Yeah, let's define a few. Vestibular function and proprioception. Our vestibular systems help us to maintain our sense of balance. It includes structures in our inner ear. Our brain uses this information and these structures to help our balance. Proprioception is our body's ability to sense its own position and movements in space. Autonomic dysfunction. This happens when the autonomic nervous system, which controls functions responsible for well-being and maintaining balance, does not regulate properly. When we have this dysfunction, it can affect our heart rate, blood pressure, digestion, temperature control, sweat glands, urinary function, and sexual function. Well, geez, no one wants all that. I guess we really should consider exercising to help avoid these lovely things. The next review is from April of 2024. In it, they explore the multifaceted benefits of exercising managing MS, including improvements in aerobic capacity, balance, muscle strength, immune and hormonal functions, and mood. Yeah, I want all of that. It goes on to say that recent research suggests that exercise training can help reduce physical disability and brain atrophy in individuals with MS. And it says there are several other benefits, such as improved aerobic capacity, better balance, improved mood, reduction in depression, improved muscle strength, enhanced quality of life, improvements in immune and hormonal function, and fatigue reduction. All of these are good things. It also says that researchers have come up with guidelines and they advocate for moderate intensity aerobic exercise of at least 30 minutes per session twice a week and strength training exercise on another 2 days a week, or focused work on specific muscle groups. I'll put a chart on the screen that you can screenshot if you'd like, with recommendations based on the EDSS score, the Expanded Disability Status Scale. As the EDSS score goes up, the exercise intensity decreases, and those with higher scores may need assistance of someone with specific training or a physical therapist. They also note that they believe diet can substantially improve life by instigating changes and modifications, given its crucial role in metabolism and its status as a fundamental life resource. I did a video about diets last week that I'll link above and below if you'd like to check that one out. So clearly exercise is important to help us manage our symptoms, but it's hard. It's hard to do with symptoms and it's hard to get started. I recently read about Agatha Christie, the famous author. In 1926, she lost her mother and her marriage unraveled. It was a year of immense pain and depression and uncertainty, but it also marked a turning point in her life. She came out of that depression and went on to publish 70 novels. When I think back to my own turning points with my MS, they were both preceded by times of pain and uncertainty. The first was in 2006 when I had my first relapse and I was losing my ability to walk. I saw a lot of doctors, I ended up in the hospital, and I had a ton of tests. They told me that it might be MS, but they weren't sure. It was really scary. I was given high-dose IV steroids, and when I was discharged, they told me to follow up with my new neurologist. The steroids helped, but I still had some foot drop. After the shock of what happened, I decided that I had to do something. I had to make a change. I started doing regular yoga to try to get back my strength and my balance, and it worked. It took months and a lot of dedication and a lot of hard work, but my balance improved and my foot drop got better. And the second turning point was in 2016. I had my second relapse and I was eventually officially diagnosed with MS. I vividly remember being in the doctor's office and hearing the words, "You have MS." Less of a shock this time, but still a time of uncertainty. What was going to happen to me? After this relapse, my balance was a bit shaky and I had trouble doing some things that I used to be able to do while standing. Again, I decided things needed to change. I started to work on more balance-focused exercises. Like in my yoga practice, I did tree poses and warrior 3, and I started using a slack line. By consistently working on these, I was able to improve my balance. I was determined to do everything in my power to keep my body as healthy as possible for as long as possible. Exercise has helped me to recover after both of my relapses. It also keeps me strong and flexible and helps with my mood. That's why I believe exercise is so important. Based on the research and my experience, I want to share some tips that may help you with exercising to help you manage your symptoms, possibly regain some function, and improve your quality of life. Number 1, plan the kinds of exercise to do. In the second review that I shared earlier, the researchers came up with guidelines. They advocate for aerobic exercise at least twice a week and strength training on another 2 days of the week. Benjamin Franklin has a famous quote that says, "If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail." We need to have a plan. Number 2, try to schedule exercise early in the day. We typically have the most energy earlier in the day, and as the day wears on, we may lose motivation. We may also run out of spoons. Have you heard of the spoon theory? We wake up each day with a certain number of spoons. As we move throughout the day, we use up our spoons on each activity we do. When they're gone, we're done. I encourage you to use spoons on exercise. Over time, exercising may help us to increase our spoon count as well. And number 3, focus on functional exercise to target the specific areas where you want to improve. I did an interview with Dr. Gretchen Hawley, who's an MS certified specialist and physical therapist, and we talked all about functional exercise and how when we focus on exercises to improve certain functions, like walking or sitting or foot drop, that we can not only improve the muscles in those areas, but we could gain improvements through neuroplasticity, the rewiring of our brains. We may create new neural pathways and regain function. Number 4, enlist the help of an exercise buddy. If we commit to working out with a buddy, we're more likely to do it. I walk with my neighbor every morning, weather permitting. Because we've made this commitment to each other, we show up for each other. It's also a great way to beat loneliness and isolation that many people with MS experience. And number 5, start with where you're at. If you can only walk for 5 minutes, then do 5 minutes. Try to do it multiple times per day, or try to increase a bit each week. Then set goals to increase little by little. It might be 5 minutes every day this week and 10 minutes every day next week. I remember when I first started doing yoga, it was incredibly frustrating because I couldn't do all the poses, but I had an amazing instructor who called it wiggle yoga. She encouraged us to move our bodies in ways that we could. If we couldn't hold the poses or get into the poses, she encouraged us to wiggle and move and make adjustments so that we could still participate. Number 6, choose exercises that you can do. If you can't walk, then walking's definitely out, but perhaps you can swim or do chair exercises. I feel like, especially now that the new year's here, I'm seeing lots of ads for chair yoga to get into shape. Jump on the computer and search for exercises that are within your abilities. Number 7, focus on exercises that are geared toward people with MS. There are so many great resources out there for us. There are YouTube channels with free videos such as Dr. Gretchen Hawley, MS Workouts in the MS Gym, and Taming the Walrus. And you can also find great resources through organizations like the National MS Society, Overcoming MS, or the Multiple Sclerosis Association of America. And I will put links to all of these in my free handout and in the description below. And number 8, chunk exercises into smaller bits if doing it all at once seems overwhelming. I'm a big fan of chunking. Say your goal is to do 6,000 steps a day, about 3 miles. But you're saying to yourself, there's no way I can walk 3 miles. Chunk it into 500 step increments. If you walk 500 steps an hour from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., you've gotten all your steps in for the day. You want to do 30 push-ups every day, but you can only do 10? Do 10 in the morning, 10 midday, and 10 in the evening. And number 9, exercise outside if possible. When we get outside, we get the bonuses of vitamin D production from being exposed to sunlight and the emotional benefits of being in nature. Did you know that there's bacteria in the soil that can help our brains to release serotonin, the feel-good hormone? It's true. I did a video on the benefits of being in nature that I'll link above and below too. Number 10, find your why. Remember Agatha Christie? Part of how she came out of her depression was for her daughter. That was her why. In Dr. Gretchen's book, which I highly recommend and I'll link below, she tells a story of working with a client and asked her why exercise was so important to her. It went like this. Why is exercise important to you? Because I want to get stronger. Why do you want to get stronger? So I can maintain my independence. Why do you want to maintain your independence? So I can take care of myself and my son. Why do you want to be able to take care of yourself and your son? So my son can have fun experiences with me, like trick-or-treating. Why do you want to have fun experiences with your son? So I can be a part of his life. She wants to be stronger, independent, and able to care for herself and her son, and be a part of his life. That's a pretty big why. I invite you to find your why. Keep asking yourself why and write it down. And when you find your why, post it somewhere where you'll see it daily as a reminder to help motivate you to exercise every day. Research shows that exercise is the number one thing that we can do to help with our MS symptoms outside of medication. What will you do, or what do you do for exercise? Let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe, like, and share this video on my channel to help it reach more people. Thanks. To get your free download, see the link in the comments and in the description below. To see more on the benefits of exercise, watch this video next. And until next time, be well.